don't have the thing, so I don't.
So go ahead and introduce yourself. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. It was a beautiful day today. I am Sue Flagel. I am the current deputy of the assessor's office, and I'm running for assessor. And I've been with the assessor's office for 28 years. And one of my primary duties and focuses has been making sure your property values are fair and equitable. That is a passion for me. I'm a certified general appraiser. I've been that since 1989, I believe. So the ethics that you have as an appraiser are very specific about being non-partial, being able to look at property for them, just looking at the data, making sure that what we're doing is fair for everyone. So I don't look at people, I look at the data and I look at the properties. So why am I running for assessor? I'm running for assessor because I want to have a succession plan where I can have these young people who need to understand these same rules of appraisal and assessment, and we can carry it on into the future. We have young people coming in, and it takes approximately, I've been an appraiser, I've been there for 28 years. I was an appraiser before that. To learn the assessor's job, it takes about 8 years to be really competent in it. So when you're talking about being able to have values set for your taxes, what you need to know is you need to have staff who are competent and skilled in what they do. I also have overseen all the mass appraisal models, and I'm also overseeing the appraisal valuation changes. We're having an upgraded system change that's going to go live this year to a cloud-based system. And I don't know if any of you have dealt with computer technology changes. My job is to make sure that it transitions over correctly and that you have confidence that what you have for a value is the right one. Sue Flagel, I'd really be honored if you would vote for me.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sue. Any other candidates or elected officials? Anyone on Zoom? No? Okay. Now we are going to have reports from our action teams. Action team leaders, please keep an eye on Teresa, who is our timekeeper today. And we will begin with Allison for education.
Sorry. Here you go. Who am I handing this to? Jim's not up here. Okay.
All right. I'm Allison Phipps. I'm the education team lead here at Arvadans for Progressive Action, where we're at. Okay, so I have a few things. Updates. We have a new interim superintendent for Jeffco Public Schools. His name is Rob Stein, and he was the former superintendent for Roaring Fork Schools. So far, he seems like a good guy. We'll see how it goes. This whole next school year will be under the interim as they search for the new permanent superintendent. So we'll be trying to build a relationship with him and meet with him and talk and see where we can go. The school board released a statement and stood by their position that the Trump administration has claimed that Jeffco Public Schools is violating Title IX, which is erroneous, and the school board is standing by that. They are following state law to allow students to participate in sports and non-discrimination. So they're standing by. We need to just kind of support the school board in this time where they're getting attacked by the federal government for something that is completely erroneous. The PTA is supporting ballot measure 195. That's the graduated income tax. I do have a petition here. If you have not signed it, come see me in the back. Please sign it before you leave. That will be funding for that will go to healthcare and education, and that will give people making under $500,000 a year a tax cut and raising taxes on the wealthy. And then other good news, the MOU, which was a legal agreement, was signed with the teachers union by the board, and this agreement will help track how funds are spent for the upcoming mill levy override. This was like a crucial step in getting the support of the union to then campaign for the mill levy override, which will likely be on the ballot in the fall. And I'm done, and yeah.
Thank you. Next we have Darlon with climate.
Thanks, Julie. I'm Darlon Chang, Climate Action Team Lead, and to build on education, we're going to have a group of students from the Jeffco Students and Parents for Climate Action coming to the June 16th City Council meeting to speak in favor of the Climate and Sustainability Action Plan. We're going to have a group letter from Jeffco Students and Parents for Climate Action, and the students are going to speak to their personal connection with that group letter. So if you're interested in supporting these students and supporting the Climate and Sustainability Action Plan, please consider giving a public comment on Tuesday, June 16th. Now, I've had some egg on my face for having to constantly say that they've delayed the vote. I hope this is the last time I have to say it. They delayed the vote from June 16th until July 7th. The reasons are technical. They had some publication design requirements for the document, including ADA requirements, so that's why they had to delay it until July 7th. The good news is that's one more city council meeting where you can speak in favor of the plan. So if you can't make it to June 16th, please consider July 7th, which will also be at 6 p.m. So if you would like to coordinate with other people who are speaking on behalf of the plan, please let me know. We coordinated for previous meetings and we did a great job of covering a lot of topics. Thanks to a lot of the people who are sitting in this room for giving public comments already. The City Council is most interested, though, in hearing from Arvadan residents that haven't spoken yet. So if you haven't given your comment, you can make your biggest impact on June 16th or July 2nd. So that's all I've got. Thanks.
Thanks, Darlon. Next we have Kathy with healthcare team.
Yeah, I may have insurance, but I'm still not covered.
Okay.
Kathy Blake, Healthcare, APA Healthcare Action Team Leader. Our team advocates for a publicly financed, privately delivered, universal healthcare system in Colorado and nationwide. Our goal is to pass a ballot measure in 2028 to implement a single-payer healthcare system in Colorado. We're working on getting support from voters and legislators. Healthcare events. The next Healthcare Action Team meeting will be on Saturday, June 20th at 4 p.m. on Zoom. And Tyler's going to put up my contact information, so give me an email and I'll send you the info. Okay, it's been a busy month. On May 29th, we had the healthcare movie and we watched Big Pharma. People are so getting ripped off by costs of medication. And then we had another member that hosted, Bobby hosted a watch party potluck on June 4th, and we watched a webinar on moral injury. Everyone bought delicious food, we shared stories, we had a real sense of community. We had a great turnout at Summerfest, which is where we started doing the butts. We had 6 butts, how many, 9 more APA and Alliance members that talked with dozens of festival goers. Thanks to all those who stopped by and contributed time and energy. The 3rd webinar in the series will occur on July 2nd. Rose Roach, National Coordinator. Oh, I guess my time is up. Contact me for more info. Thank you.
Next we have Pat with Immigration Partnership.
Basket didn't make it all the way there. Whenever you think it's right, yeah. How come we have no lights here?
The washes are bad.
Hi, I'm Pat Malone, and I head up the Immigrant Partnership team. There is, if you read the CTA, or the call to action that came out on Tuesday, you know that there's an initiative on the November ballot that aims to roll back restrictions on ICE cooperation. There was a state law that was passed in 2019 that said law enforcement officers cannot provide individuals personal information to federal immigration authorities or detain a person solely for civil immigration violations. Then in 2025, another state law further expanded that privacy protection and added a $50,000 civil fine for violators. So this new Initiative 95, which has already been approved, it will be on the ballot under a different name, but you'll hear about that coming forward. It would force local police to work with ICE, and that will erode the trust that actually keeps our community safe and makes immigrants afraid to report things or be witnesses. So, and it's not just limited to felonies. Misdemeanors and petty offenses could trigger deportation, and the whole thing invites racial profiling. So here's a very positive thing that you could do right here at home in Arvada. On Tuesday, there's a member of WKUS that I've been promoting, We Keep Us Safe Arvada, and our member, Derek, has been organizing community meals and in parks for anybody who needs a meal and shows up. And there's one on Tuesday, June 16th, from 4 to 6 p.m. at Columbine Park on West 53rd Avenue. 2 of our members in IPT have, I'm very proud when members step up. Time is up, but I'm going to tell you this. One person has submitted a proclamation on immigration, hasn't been approved, that went to City Council, and another member, Glenn, who is here, has submitted a letter to the editor at the Arvada Press, so I look forward to, I hope we see that next week. So thank you.
Next we have Political Action, Tyler.
Hey all, Tyler Knappe, the Political Action Team Lead. You may have noticed we have now primary ballots. The primary is on June 30th. It ends at 7 p.m. So make sure you do fill out your ballot and turn it in prior to that time. If you need information on who to vote for, we've got you covered. So we did a large survey beginning of March, I believe it was, of all the political candidates that are currently in office. That survey has gone out, has been endorsed. Those members, those candidates that were endorsed who had garnered 60% of the vote from members. And so we've updated and refreshed the website. There have been new candidates that have come in and are running in the different offices. And we have updated that with people who have also dropped out. So go ahead and take a look at that. It will be, I think, very enlightening for a lot of the different candidates that are running. We are continuing work on trying to get a candidate forum together. This would be for anyone who we haven't endorsed or maybe even those we have. We're really kind of playing with the idea of who we can invite to the candidate forum, how large that will be, that type of thing. So continue to look forward to that. I'll keep you guys updated on email. We are tracking ballot initiatives as well, and I want to call it one specifically because I think it's fairly various. There's ballot initiative 232, which is collecting signatures at the moment. It is an initiative to cap the income tax at 4.4% in direct opposition to the graduated income tax. Be wary of that, keep an eye on it. It is being circulated for petitions at the moment. Importantly, our next meeting will be June 18th at 6:30 p.m. This will be a joint meeting with Anti-War. We will be meeting at Mirror Image Arts. And the goal of this meeting is to hash out a agenda for speaking with Brittany Peterson about the current war, things that we can do to take action against that, and really just show a short voice on the current things going on in the world. And then notably, as was called out before, the June 16 City Council meeting is going to be coming up. Please come to that, speak to the APA values, affordable housing, climate change. There's lots of things to talk to, and the City Council wants to hear from you guys. And then finally, I will be in the lobby. If you guys don't know what your membership looks like, go ahead and meet me in the lobby. I'll go ahead and adjust that. You can join the Political Action Committee, Anti-War, anything like that. Thank you.
Bruce is not here for anti-war, but as Tyler said, there is a meeting on June 18th, correct?
June 18th.
June 18th, and if you want further information on that, go ahead and talk to Tyler after the meeting. I am Julie with Social Connections. I do what I do because authoritarian governments try to make people feel isolated and alone, and nobody here is isolated or alone. I try and have get-togethers a couple times a month. We are not going to have an end of the month get-together because on Saturday, July 11th is going to be our annual picnic that will be at Oak Park. Instead of doing a book club this month, I'm going to do a level 400 Women in Politics class. My daughter is in that class at Arizona State University, and she wants to talk to me about it all the time, and she said, you should talk to your people about it. So she's going to share some articles with me, and I'm going to share them with you, and we're going to get together and talk about that on Wednesday, July 8th at 6:30. You can text me or email me, and I will send you the PDFs, and we can talk about that. The other odd thing I'm going to do this year is we're going to watch a television show called Andor. It is a Star Wars show, and my daughter also highly recommended that. And it is an entirely untraditional Star Wars show in that it is about something. It explores the ideology of, it's not just good versus evil, right? That's sort of Star Wars, but it explores the ideology of fascism and what it takes to radicalize everyday people into throwing away everything they know and love and become an insurrectionist. It explores how authoritarian regimes exploit average people and the means in which they use to maintain control and power. And I think that is something that we need to look at. So that will be on the following week, Wednesday, July 15th. At this point, they're both going to be at my home. If we get a bigger crowd, I'll move it to the library. Okay, that's enough of me. And now we have Liz with rallies and protests.
Ready, be ready.
Hey everybody, I'm Liz Maddie. I'm actually the communications team lead, so if you have any related questions, you can ask me later. But I'm here on behalf of the rallies team. Mara could not be here today, so I'm going to read from my email so I don't screw this up. On the 4th of July, start the day off right and join the rally team for a protest rally to celebrate independence and democracy. That's going to be at the Grandview. That's going to be at Grandview and Wadsworth, 10 a.m. to noon. This will be likely on Facebook, Mobilize, and in the newsletter, so you don't have to remember that right now. It's also going to include some folks reading the Declaration of Independence by Indivisible Westminster. As a reminder, tomorrow we do have our weekly rally Sunday. That's at 80th and Wadsworth. Both sides of the street. I don't know the compass directions, but there's a King Soopers and a Safeway. Both sides are operational. And tomorrow is Flag Day, so bring a flag. And if you don't have one, I guess an American flag. If you don't have one, flags will be provided. And then if you're looking for something during the week, every Tuesday at Ralston and Wadsworth, 4 to 5:30 p.m. there's a rally. And every Wednesday at Kipling and 58th from 4 to 5 p.m. There's a rally and parking is available. There's a church right there in that corner. So come out. I think it's super fun. It's a great way to spend a Sunday morning too, just getting hyped up, hanging out with like-minded folks. So thanks.
Liz, there's flyers in the back about the rallies.
Oh, cool. Okay, perfect.
Flyers
Yeah.
in the back about the rallies. Okay, that wraps up our team leaders briefings. We do see a couple more people came in, candidates or somebody with petitions. If we would each like 2 minutes to talk? Yes? Come on up.
I wasn't sure if you were looking at me.
Well, there's two of you and...
You stole my thunder, Danielle. It's
Great.
fine. It's fine. I don't take it personally.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
Well, thank you. I'm Danielle Arvada, the candidate running for House District 27, where I think you are right now. This is the edge, the 72nd, so I should know this. I am a longtime resident of Arvada and lived up here in North Arvada for about 20 years. I am a former school board director, mom of 3 very spirited teenage girls, a small business owner, and I've been a professor at UCD for 15 years in the School of Public Affairs. For a living, I study systems and how they work or don't work for people. I know that we have many broken systems here in Colorado and our country. We are all facing housing, childcare, grocery, home costs, home insurance costs, and I really want to work hard on supporting and strengthening these systems in Colorado. So I am, my way of working is across sectors. I'm a collaborator, and that's how I will be at the State House. So I look forward to working with you all and for you all at the Colorado State House. I am just going to end with 2 quick invitations of things that are coming up, but save the date right now because I would love to see every single one of you. Next Saturday, Phil Weiser is going to come to North Arvada, and he asked me to do a joint canvass with him. We might have one other House District member there, we haven't confirmed yet, at Saturday, June 20th at 12:30. I think we're going to be in the Firefighters Park in Arvada. So if you want to knock doors and get him elected, if you aren't a Weiser fan, that's okay, but I hope you will join me. I'm really excited about having him as our next governor, and so I hope that you will be there with us. We need lots of people to knock doors. Every single vote is going to count. I think it's going to be very close. And then on July 12th, we will have a fundraiser for the 3 new Jeffco House District candidates, Alexis Hoffling, myself, and Dave Ryan, in a park in Golden. I hope you'll join us. We're going to have all the Jeffco people there, so it'll be a big Jeffco festival for new folks. We call it the Keep Jeffco Blue fundraiser. So hope to see you all there. Thanks.
Thank you.
And then this guy.
It's Danielle.
Got it. Hi everyone, my name is Ian Harwick. I am your current RTD director, and I'm running for re-election this coming November. But to get on the ballot, I need to get 250 signatures. I'm getting pretty close, but I would love to have your signature. I've been in the office for about 3.5 years. And some of the things that I'm super excited about, if you're 19 or under, you get to ride for free. This past Sunday, we started running 15-minute service on the G line again, which is just awesome. It's so great. It's one of the things that I ran on, and I'm so excited that it actually has come to fruition, even if it didn't take 3.5 years to have it happen. But we're there now, and just continually pushing for TOD, affordable housing around our transit stops, and then also trying to figure out how do we bring other forms of transportation to West Arvada, because that is kind of a desert, and love to see that happen over time. So I have 2 petitions here. I'm going to just kind of send in both directions, and would love your support. And thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. And that wraps up our pregame.
So we do have a request for clarification from Liz.
Okay, so we have a request for clarification from Liz.
From the Zoom.
Also, today's the 13th, and you have to write Jefferson out all the way.
Okay, on the petitions, today is the 13th, and you have to write Jefferson out all the way.
Thank you so much.
And there's a question on Zoom for Liz.
All right, so the question is, we thought the Flag Day protest was at Grandview. Can someone clarify?
Here, I'll come up here.
Liz is going to clarify.
I don't know. I believe tomorrow that is the 80th in Wadsworth, but I'm gonna triple check this real quick and then provide a reply via Zoom, via Taylor, and then we can maybe put something on the screen if necessary, because I don't know, but I will find out briefly. Yeah, we'll know by the end of the meeting.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay.
I've been getting some random texts of other, like, there's spam things from places saying there's rallies and stuff that don't exist and they want money. So that might be a scam.
Delete it.
Somebody just got. I mean, that might be a scam that somebody just got.
Yeah, we're not texting, we do not have that sophistication, unless it's like from a friend that you know, right? Like I was like, hey.
So beware of scam texts that are sending you on the wild goose chase.
Yeah.
I had several friends that have gotten the same kind of stuff.
Okay. So that's the end of the beginning. Oh, we have something else. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, this is from Harriet. She says that it is at 80th and Wise.
Okay. The Flag Day rally tomorrow is at the corners of 80th and Wadsworth by King Soopers and Safeway. That clarifies that. Thank you, Harriet. Okay, we are now ready for our main speaker. I'm going to have Taylor come up and introduce. Thank you all. You've been a great audience.
Thank you, Julie.
Good afternoon. So you may have noticed in the past few months that things have been a little bit dry around here. So we thought that it would be appropriate to have some folks from the city of Arvada come and talk to us about the issues around water. Our speakers today are Chris McPhee, he's a civil engineer at the city of Arvada, and Chris Gray, infrastructure business manager for the city of Arvada. So we are Arvada Chris squared today. Chris McPhee has over 14 years of experience as a civil engineer, contributing to the design and construction of large water infrastructure projects throughout the western United States and globally. In his current role, Chris provides project management and engineering oversight for water and wastewater capital improvement projects. Chris values time with his family and enjoys exploring the outdoors with his wife and one-year-old son. Hopefully he occasionally gets to sleep too. Chris Gray provides leadership for the city's utility financial planning and management and water supply management. She has over 20 years of experience working with local governments in this capacity. Chris enjoys kayaking and hiking with her family. We're going to ask people to hold your questions until the end of the presentation. We're going to have lots of time for questions. When you are asking a question, we'd ask you to come forward and use the microphone so everyone can hear it. Otherwise, we'll have the presenters, the people answering the question, repeat the question. The other thing I would like to ask too, for people who are on Zoom, if you have problems seeing something or hearing something, go ahead and pipe up, because we probably won't know that here. So, without further ado, and remember, next slide.
Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here. It's fun to see people who are interested in water. A lot of times people think their water just comes from the tap, and then when you flush it, it goes somewhere. And we can provide a little bit more information about that. I'll let you know that there is some information on the back counter. We have some flyers about drought, about Ask Arvada if you want to reach the city for anything. There's an Ask Arvada card that you can take with you and email so that you can get your questions answered in a very timely manner. So you can take a look at that. And then both Chris and I have business cards with us, so if you have questions for us specifically, we can certainly get back to you. I will also shout out to our city team who helped put the slides together. Mary Stahl, Amy Wilhite, and Katie Patterson, amongst others, put together a great slide deck. So we will speak to that. And I don't have it memorized, so I have a copy here. And I'll also be looking at the screen. So I will try to make sure I'm looking at everybody, including the Zoom folks. So, do you want to say anything else before we kick this off? Okay, we're going to tag team the slides. All right, so first slide, please.
Yes, just a second. Let me make sure I got it up. Okay.
Water matters. So
sorry, let me swap to the live one so we can use the videos. So let me share this.
We do have a couple of videos embedded in in two of these slides, so we'll hope that they work.
Yeah, our mantra is, what could go wrong?
All right, so we can use that.
Yep. Well, while you're doing that, what I will say as an introductory statement is that utilities are more than just water. So the water that comes into your house, we use it, we flush it down the toilet or down the sink, and it goes somewhere else. We also have storm water. So the city gets rain occasionally. We haven't had a whole lot of it lately. Fingers crossed we get something this summer because, as was mentioned earlier, we are in a historic drought. And so that we're going to speak to a little bit of that in the slides. Next slide, please. So water matters for Arvada. What are the needs and uses for water in our community? Sanitation. First and foremost, we look at public health and safety because the water that we deliver to our residents, our businesses, has to be safe and has to be reliable. Hydration, we all need water to live. Economy, it's very important for us as a city to make sure that we have enough water supply and reliable wastewater services and stormwater services for businesses to come in. It's really hard to be a restaurant when you don't have reliable water or reliable toilets. And it's also great for a business that's outside to have adequate stormwater services. And then landscaping, we all like our yards. This year is a challenging one for yards. I know I'm struggling to keep things green, and I definitely cut back my vegetable gardens this year. But we like our landscaping, so it's important for us to be able to have water for that. Next slide, please. Who uses water in Arvada? Primarily single-family homes. That big block of green right there represents about 94% of the city's water use. We have about 40,000 accounts, customer accounts for the city, and most of those are people who own homes. There are a small percentage of folks who live in multifamily, commercial customers, irrigation customers, and we do have some wholesale accounts. Next slide, please. And how is that water used? So this pie graph, if you actually back up one, there's animation. This is the breakdown of how single-family residents typically use water. And most of us use water outside. So if you take a look at your water bills across the summer, across the year, you'll see traveling from January to December, low, 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 higher, 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 cross, cross, back down. Winter and fall are very low. Summer is high because we're watering our grass, we're watering our gardens. Next slide, please. So water matters through Arvada. Next slide. How do we get water to everybody for sanitation and landscaping and economy and hydration? We do it with a variety of sources of supply, a lot of infrastructure, which includes our treatment plants, our pipes and pumps, our storage, and then the people who work in the utility. We have about 120 people who work in the water, sewer, and stormwater utilities for the city. And that's what our jobs are, to make sure you're getting everything you need and it goes away properly. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit about sources. And this is a picture of our Arvada Blonde Reservoir over on the west side of town here. one of our spillways, and then the Arvada plant. Nice view of the mountains. And right now, that reservoir looks pretty full because we had water come in from runoff. People haven't quite ramped up their irrigation yet. Please do not ramp up your irrigation too much this year. But as the season progresses and people start using their water, you're gonna see the reservoir go down. And so just heads up, if you see the reservoir go down, that is what it's for. It is for drinking water. It is for putting water into the system. It's a great recreational benefit, but that's its secondary use. Its primary use is to put water into our treatment plants to send out to the community. Next slide, please. So where does Arvada get its water? We have a contract with Denver Water for raw water, and that's about 75% of our water supply. And this pink area is the system that Denver uses for its north water supply. So you can see that dotted line is the Moffett line. That's that pipeline that goes across the mountains, goes over to Gross Reservoir, then comes down to its Ralston Reservoir, and then we get water from there. Next slide, please. The green is the Arvada portion of our water supply. So the city itself has a water rights portfolio, and that accounts for about 25% of our water. It comes down Clear Creek out of the mountains into our reservoir, and then we treat it from there. Next slide, please. So you can see the combined water supply sources. We've got cities along the way in the red dots, and you can see you are here with the red star, that is Arvada. So there's quite a diverse water supply. It's also 100% in the mountains, which is why we are in the situation we're in right now, as far as the drought goes. Next slide, please. So a couple of really busy slides coming up here. Busy slide number 1. This is from Denver Water, from whom we get most of our water. And if you take anything away from this slide, it is the title. Both river basins, Colorado River, South Platte River, are in a severe drought. So most of you know this, but I'll repeat it, or I'll do some 101 on water supply. We get our water from snowmelt that comes out of the mountains. Snows like heck in the winter. It didn't this year. Melts off around May or June. It melted early this year. Comes down, fills our reservoirs. We use it. Still melts through in the summer. We use it. Fills up again in the winter. So as you all know, we didn't have a winter. If you spent any time in the mountains this winter, it was pathetic. If you're a skier or a snowshoer like I am, it was like, where is the snow? So we didn't get the snow. It was hot and dry early. We had an early runoff and an early snowpack. So you can see here on this very busy slide, that blue line is where our current winter landed. And I won't walk over to the screen and point at it, but you can see that it is the lowest of all the lines on the screen. And it is the earliest of all the lines on the screen. So we didn't get much snow. It stopped snowing early when it did snow, and it ran off early. So we don't have anything. If you look at Mount Blue Sky, there's not a lot up there. And Denver tracks 2 different watersheds, which is why we're showing 2 different slides here. We can come back to that later if you'd like. Next slide, please. So what does that mean for us this year, and potentially next year? This is what Denver looks at for their reservoirs. So you can see across the bottom, we have January of 2026 through March of 2027. And along the left-hand side, that is an amount of storage. That light blue line is where things were tracking for storage up until, looks like April, when they stopped measuring it for this chart. And the blue, green, and red lines are what they're projecting for storage for next year. So unless we get 150% of the average snowfall next winter, or a massive flood, we are likely going to be entering next year in a drought. So in the water supply world, the first year of any drought, we consider as the first year of potentially a multi-year drought. So we take it very seriously. This is not a pretty picture for us, and we are hoping that things change over the course of the winter, but we have to plan for what happens if it doesn't. Next slide, please. So, in response to this historic drought, utilities across the Front Range have declared some kind of a drought declaration or a drought watch. Because we have contracts with Denver Water, we follow what they do because that's part of what we need to do. And so we declared a drought on March 24th. City Council adopted that in March. And as a part of that, we put into place requests for our community to reduce its water use by 20% and stick to critical use only for water. So we have some mandatory water restrictions. Some basics are, please don't water between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. It's hot, it's windy, the water that you're putting out on the plants probably isn't getting there, especially if you have spray irrigation. So please water between 6 p.m. and 10 a.m. We have days of the week. So we have even addresses are Sunday and Thursday. Odd addresses are Wednesdays and Saturdays. Everybody else is Tuesday and Friday. So unless you have permission from the city, you should not be watering on a Monday. If you see watering going on that shouldn't be happening, please go to the Ask Arvada site and you can report it there, because we're asking customers to comply with this because we don't know what's going to happen next year. We are also talking to City Council on June 16th. I've heard it mentioned a couple times tonight. Come to Council on June 16th. It's going to be a busy night. Yes, the CASIP was going to be there. Please come and share your thoughts about that. City Council is also going to be considering drought surcharges. And this is a surcharge for water to signal its value. So you can see here on the left in the blue, we are looking at surcharges for single-family customers and for irrigation customers. So why these two types of customers? These customers have the greatest opportunity to reduce their outdoor water use. So if you remember a few slides ago, we had the pie chart of 45%, 55% single-family customers use most of their water outside. This is what we're asking folks to recognize is the value of that outdoor water. So City Council will receive a slide presentation and will take into consideration the following structure. We're looking at the first 12,000 gallons of your bi-monthly bill. There's no surcharge. That addresses your indoor use that you would do all the time. It also allows for some tree watering and some shrub watering. Any water use between 12,000 and 30,000 gallons on a bi-monthly bill will be charged $1.10 per 1,000 gallons. And then anything above 30,000 gallons would be charged $2.20. For irrigation customers, this could be private parks or commercial properties that have an irrigation meter. They'll get charged $2.20 per 1,000 gallons. If you're looking for more information about this topic, the City Council packet is published every Friday, so it's up on the city's website. You can take a look at the memorandum behind that and the slides. I'll be there, so feel free to come up and chat with me at the meeting, after the meeting, or after tonight's meeting if you want more information. And we do have some of the stage 1 mandatory water restrictions information on that counter. Next slide, please. So we have a couple of different responses from our organizations. The city has parks that it manages, and it's a priority for them to keep the athletic fields in good shape so that the kids who are playing on them have good grass. Trees and shrubs, always important. They're the bigger pieces of our landscape that are important to hold on to. Turf grass is important, and fountains and water features. So we have worked with our parks team, and they have been fabulous partners, to basically not reduce their raw water use for fields, reduce their use for their potable water use on athletic fields, and also reduce their tree and shrub watering and their general park turf watering. Old Town Fountain is only going to operate for special events, and we are keeping the splash pad operating at normal hours because everybody wants to keep kids happy in the summer, and splashing in water is one of the best ways to do that. Next slide, please. Our golf team, also a huge water user and also a fantastic partner in our combined drought response. So lots of priorities for golf. If you're a golfer, these should look really familiar to you. They're doing similar things as the parks team. While they're not reducing water use on greens and tees and fairways, they are reducing roughs, practice areas, and native area use. Native areas shouldn't need any water after they're established. That's the whole point of native. They are very used to, that type of plant is very used to having very little water, so we have gotten it to that point. And then they're also maintaining the clubhouse landscape areas because it looks nice and there's not a ton of it there. Next slide, please. So I will turn it over to Chris McPhee.
Good evening, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Thanks, Chris, for walking through. We're kind of walking through the water journey, so to speak. So we started with raw water. Chris gave a good overview of that. And then the goal here with the next handful of slides is just to give you all a snapshot of how our water goes from the mountains and then through the treatment plant and then to the tap and then what happens after that. So we'll start that talking about water treatment. Arvada has a couple water treatment plants that we operate. The one shown here, this is an aerial of the Ralston water treatment plant, which if you're not familiar with where that is, it is at West 64th Parkway and Highway 93. I'll go through the treatment plants here in the next couple slides. So next slide. Oh yeah, and we have a video here just to give everybody a basic understanding of the treatment process, and this is what we follow in Arvada.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to get high-quality, reliable water to your home? Most of Arvada's water supply comes from high in the mountains via Gross Reservoir. From there, it enters one of our 2 treatment plants and begins the water treatment process. The first step in the treatment process is called coagulation, where fine particles are brought together to form a mass called a floc. Following this, the water circulates through several large basins, allowing the floc to get bigger before entering a settling basin where the particles are removed. Once the floc has mostly settled and been removed, the water is filtered through anthracite, which is a type of coal, and sand to further remove any particles and purify the water. After filtration, the water is polished, the pH is adjusted to reduce pipe corrosion, and there is an additive for dental health. Then a final disinfection is performed to protect your water from contamination when traveling from the plant to your tap. Once the water has completed the treatment process, it is then delivered to your tap through a series of pressurized underground pipes and storage tanks.
Operate in the city. The Ralston water treatment plant is our primary treatment plant that we operate all year round. If you remember that pie chart though, in the summer, we see a lot more use for irrigation and for watering, landscape. So we have a second treatment plant that we operate seasonally. If you just click through to the next one here. Yeah, so this is our Arvada water treatment plant that sits right adjacent to the Arvada Reservoir. This operates seasonally to augment our water production through the summer. And then we have a third here. If you weren't aware, we are in the process of designing and will be building a replacement water treatment plant. So the Arvada water treatment plant was built in the late 1970s. A lot of the technologies and equipment is becoming obsolete. And this equipment has an age, has a lifetime, and we're kind of getting to the end of that life. And so there was a long process internally to evaluate options, and the team landed on the necessity to build a new treatment plant. So that is what we are moving forward with. If you want more information, I would also encourage you to check out our website. There are a lot of good descriptions and summaries of that process. Over like 30 different locations were looked at in the siting study, so there was a public comment period. So anyway, I would encourage you to look at the website for that as well. So next slide. So once our water is treated, it moves into our distribution system. So a couple highlights here on this slide for our distribution. We have 12 storage tanks, 8 pump stations, and over 650 miles of pipeline under the ground. This is all for our treated water distribution. Most of our system, most of the system in Arvada is fed by gravity. So although we have the 8 pump stations, that's actually a very small part of the system that uses those pump stations, primarily the western half of the city, Candelas, and those areas. We have over 6,000, or approximately 6,000 hydrants. Oftentimes when we think about water distribution, we think about water to homes and sprinklers, but fire prevention is a big part of that planning as well. And we have 60 sampling stations, so we have a dedicated water quality team that samples the water for constituents that are regulated against. Those are both federal and state. So there's weekly sampling year-round for pH, chlorine, and chloroform bacteria, and then quarterly sampling for disinfection byproducts and alkalinity. This is really to make sure that what's coming out of the plant and what's clean water there is also clean through the system. So there's a team that works hard to do that. Next slide. So beyond drinking water. So what happens now when we turn the tap on, now it's going down the drain, where does it go? So next slide. So in the Arvada, we have over 400 miles of sanitary sewer lines that connect all the homes to our main, what we call interceptor pipelines, and then all that water gets transmitted to Metro wastewater recovery. So the way this works, Arvada is split up into multiple drainages, as I'm sure you're aware. We have kind of these main, what we call interceptor pipelines. They're kind of like wastewater highways, for lack of a better word, that allow all that wastewater to move through the city and get to the east side of the city, right? We're moving downhill. And at that point, Metro wastewater, or Metro Water Recovery has their pipeline, and they move that water further downstream to their treatment plant, which is right on the Platte near Denver. And they treat all of Denver and a lot of the surrounding municipalities. So it's a pretty impressive plant. Bring a nose plug maybe, but it is pretty impressive. So yeah, we have over 10,000 manholes and 2 lift stations as well. Most of our system runs by gravity, but there are a few cases where we have to pump it from one drainage to another. So next slide. So not only do we have our wastewater side, but we have stormwater as well. So we have 220 miles of storm pipe that get all of that stormwater to the places it needs to go. We all can do our part to help protect that stormwater system. We always like to remind folks of these handful of things that we see that help us keep that water clean. So cleaning up after pet waste, that runoff can be really detrimental. Don't put trash in the gutter. Don't dump stuff down the drain, please. Avoid over-fertilizing. That stuff that comes off of the green space can get into the storm drains. And then, of course, cleaning up spills and leaks. We have a dedicated team at the city that goes out and inspects construction sites, both internal, like Arvada construction, but also developers, and they're dedicated to help make sure people are following these best practices. Next slide, please. So Water Matters by Arvada. So we talked about all these sources. I think I'm going to hand it over to Chris.
Unless you want to cover all of that.
No, you're good.
Fun stuff, okay. This is back in my world. So we have all of these sources of water. We have all this infrastructure, all this stuff in the ground and above ground that it takes to get to you. And then the people who do all of that work. How do we pay for all of this? And this is a topic that gets a lot of energy because there are some misconceptions out there that I will try to myth bust here. So next slide. So we have 3 ways of funding all of our stuff. We have rates and fees, and this picture should be familiar to hopefully all or most of you. This is a typical water bill. It is from 2022, so if you could read the numbers, it's tiny font. They're way out of date. But this is the normal setup. You've got your customer number, your account number, so if you ever call into our billing team, 7070, those are the numbers that you're going to need along with your address. We've got 4 types of things that we bill you for. We bill you for water, sewer, stormwater, and solid waste and recycling. And they go in that order on your bill. Water has 2 components. There's a fixed fee that's charged no matter how much water you use, and then there's a volumetric component. So the more water you use, the more you pay. And this bill shows in really tiny font, tiers 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have a sewer charge, which also has a fixed component and a volumetric component. We do not meter wastewater because that would be gross and also really hard to do. But what we do is we take your winter use and we assume that that's your indoor use. So we assume that that's your indoor use, we bill you on that, and that's the annual charge. We have stormwater, which is based on the impervious area of your property, so basically the area where water can run off. So concrete, homes, asphalt, sheds. We calculate all of that, and then we subtract that from your overall property, and that's the number we use. And then solid waste and recycling, which is another charge that is on the city's utility bill. So that all rolls up, and we send you a bill every 2 months. So those are the rates and fees that pay for the people, the repair and the replacement of the things, and then the source water. Next slide. System development charges, whole different thing. So you'll see a picture here of homes being built, and this is a water tap, an actual water line that's being tapped for a property. If you're a developer, you pay this. So Chris McPhee comes into the city and wants to build houses. Chris McPhee, developer, is going to buy into the city's system. And when he does that, we say to this developer, or any developer, we're holding water for you. You paid us for this water, so now we're going to hold it for you. Once that developer turns around and turns it into an actual property, sells the house to Taylor, Taylor pays the rates and fees, so he gets a bill. So system development charges are paid by developers who are coming into the city for growth. Rates and fees are paid by customers for existing infrastructure, for things that need to be fixed in their normal size, and I'll get into that a little bit. Next slide. The third funding source is debt. We issue revenue bonds as a city to pay for big projects. So there are lots of times when we have more work that needs to be done than we have money. And so similar to getting a car loan, getting a home loan, we take out loans so that we can pay for the big stuff. Debt is paid by rates and fees. So it is a very useful tool for us as a city to manage rates and fees because we can issue debt and build that into the rates and fees over time rather than cash flowing everything. So it would be really hard for me to cash flow my own house. I could not afford to buy my house with cash. There is never going to be enough time where I can build up that amount of money to buy my house. But I can take out a loan and pay that over time. One of the cool, nifty things that might not be flippant, but one of the things that I really appreciate about debt is that it creates intergenerational equity, which is a fancy term for I live in my house now, I pay those rates and fees right now, but Chris moves in tomorrow, and if I cash flowed everything as a city, I'd pay for everything. He wouldn't pay for anything because he just moved in the next day. Debt allows us to have a 20 or 30-year pay period so that no matter when the person moves in, we're all paying for the asset. Hopefully I did that some justice. If it's confusing, please ask me during the question section. It tends to get a little tricky for me to explain, so if I didn't do a good job, let me know. Next slide.
Your water, wastewater, and stormwater rates are an investment in the intricate systems that provide the reliable water service you count on each day. In Arvada, when you turn on the tap, you can rest assured that every drop of water is treated, monitored, and tested to protect your health. When you send water down the drain, it's safely managed to protect our environment until it reaches the wastewater treatment plant. Even stormwater from snow or rain is handled to keep you and our environment safe. Arvada's water, sewer, and stormwater systems use critical infrastructure, from pipes to treatment plants and everything in between, to provide essential services that ensure our city thrives. However, points of our systems are aging and need reinvestment. That's why the city has adopted long-range plans to maintain a healthy Arvada. While planning for these upgrades, the city is working hard to ensure your water, wastewater, and stormwater rates continue to only pay for the repair and replacement of existing systems. In Arvada, growth pays for growth, ensuring increased capacity is paid for through the development process. Arvada is committed to growth paying its own way. This means we work diligently to ensure the water, wastewater, and stormwater bills you pay only contribute to these systems, nothing else. So each time you pay your bill, you're investing in the systems that support a thriving Arvada. To learn more about these systems and utilities rates and fees, visit www.arvadaco.gov/utilities-transparency.
And again, as the video is saying, growth pays for growth. So we are very careful about making sure that we charge our development community the appropriate fees to come into the city systems, and then we turn around and charge all of our customers the appropriate amounts to make sure that we have a safe and reliable and compliant utility system. Okay, I'll turn it back to Chris.
Thank you. So, yeah, we want to talk through a little bit our capital planning process. So a lot of what our team does, I'm saying our team, myself, and a handful of engineers, is we manage these capital improvement projects. So I want to give you kind of some snapshots into how we go about that. Master plans, so each piece of our utility infrastructure, tanks, water treatment, water distribution, we try to do a master plan of that looks at what's the condition of it now, what do we think the growth and needs are going to be in the future, and how can we address all of those. And we look at that every 5 to 6 years or so. The condition and age of our system, so a lot of the city was built in the 70s, 80s, and a lot of that is starting to age out. So that's a big piece of what we look at is we have 600 miles of distribution pipe, we have 400 miles of sewer pipe. A lot of that is starting to age out, so we look at that closely when we plan our next big projects for the city. We also plan with other departments, so our paving program, our sidewalk program, anything in the right-of-way, we are trying to talk with those other groups to make sure we're strategic. We don't want to pave a road and then come in 6 months later and tear it up just to put in a sewer line, so that's a big piece of our planning. We look at risk, so the remaining life of our system, right? If a pipe should last 50 or 60 years and we're 40 years through it, we might need to address it. So that's one part of the risk, but also how critical is it to the system, right? An 8-inch water line that serves 5 homes, well, it's important to those 5 people, may not be as critical as a transmission line from the treatment plant that serves half of Arvada. So when we look at projects, we try to balance all of those needs. We have to maintain regulatory compliance and the comprehensive plan, which I think Paul did a presentation here about, but utilities are a part of that. How are we going to grow? What are things going to be used for? So we take all of this, and then the next slide, we roll this up into a series of projects. And those projects get presented to City Council. City Council gets to review those, and then Chris does her magic to try to figure out how they impact our future rates and fees. But the point of this slide is that we don't just say, hey, everything's important. We need to replace everything tomorrow. We try to give council a prioritization of what's most critical. Up here in the top red, so I guess the colors here, red, orange, yellow is high critical to low critical. Those projects that are really important might be like the water treatment plant, like we really need this, it's gonna impact the whole city. Those projects on the low end that are yellow, they might be projects that, yes, we should probably build them soon, but if we have to push it out 3-4 years, the consequences aren't nearly as high. So presenting this just so you know that we try to balance these different needs and think about how it's going to impact the community. Next slide. So yeah, a couple of our big capital projects ongoing right now. Do you want to talk about this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we might as well just stay here rather
Yeah,
than like
that works.
sitting before it. So the one on the left here is a picture of Denver Water's Gross Reservoir. The city is a 1/6 financial partner in that project. And they are raising the dam so that they can put more water into that reservoir to make this north system of Denver Water systems more resilient for weather and to address some growth. For us, it's going to be water for future growth. So that just finished completion. They just finished building the dam. And now the project is in litigation with some environmental groups about whether or not they can fill the reservoir. So that's coming summer or fall. They have some oral arguments this summer. We hope to know something within a year, and I will hand it back.
So we talked about the new treatment plant. That's another big project for us. And then lastly, our distribution system. So all these pipelines that were put in the ground in the 70s and 80s are starting to get to the end of life. So we really need to address those. Next slide. So we'll walk through kind of a couple of our utility areas. So wastewater. These are a couple of our bigger projects ongoing right now. If you've driven down West 86th around Sims, you probably noticed some traffic control, some pipes going in the ground. That's one of our big ongoing interceptor sewer pipeline projects. This project was put out there for both replacing the aging infrastructure and some of the growth we're seeing on the west side of Arvada. But a couple other projects we've recently completed on the wastewater side are along the Ralston Creek corridor, so Davis Lane, Danny Kendrick, and then a couple, again, on sort of the north side of the city, along Sheridan, which actually goes through a portion of Westminster. That project should be done, I think, this week with paving. And then we've got another one all the way on the east side of Arvada along Tennyson Street that nearly done, just trying to get the pipe under the railroad. So up next, yeah, we've got some additional projects along those large interceptors in the future. And then our smaller system, we routinely go through the neighborhoods and line the smaller wastewater pipes and do point repairs. Go to the next slide. Oh, there is a video. This is pretty exciting. Wastewater going through a brand new pipe. So we get excited about that. It's okay if not everybody else. But this was our brand new interceptor line on Tennyson Street, just all the way on the east side of town there, right before it gets transitioned to metro pipelines. So, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Next slide.
That deserves some applause.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I'm going to try and jump to the next slide, but it tries to autoplay the video, so we'll see how that goes. There we go. Okay.
All right. So now on the stormwater side, one thing I wanted to highlight. So if you pay fees in the Mile High Flood District, those are that money does come back into Arvada. So our stormwater team works very closely with them to do projects along Ralston Creek. You can see a couple of them here. But those are largely funded. Time? Well, okay. All right, we're getting to the end here. All right, so yes, we're doing lots of work in the stormwater space. Next slide. And there is some great resources on the website. There's a QR code here, but maybe we can also post a link or something at the end. Next slide. Do you want to just kind of scrim through these?
Yeah, scrim through. Okay, so we're gonna go fast so we can answer some questions. So one of the things that the city is looking to do, actually not looking to do, we are doing, is standing up a utilities stewardship advisory group. So we want to involve the community in some feedback from all of you about how you experience our utilities, and then to educate the community about what it takes in way more depth than these slides to run a utility. And so we are actively looking for applications, and there are 2 information sessions coming up, June 24th and June 27th. Please take a look at the city's website for more information. We're taking applications by July 1st, and we're looking to hold 3 meetings for the rest of this year, and then 6 meetings a year going forward. Next slide. Water conservation. We talked about water restrictions. We do have some ongoing resources. Resource Central is a regional partner for many utilities to help us with outdoor conservation programs. We do have some options on our city's website. If you have recently had your meter switched out, you now have the ability to take a look at your water use almost in real time by 15-minute increments. So take a look at your bill or call into the billing team to say, ask if you've had that switched out recently, and you can use the app to look at your water use. It is unbelievable how much it will tell you if you have a leak. It is like that. So if you think your irrigation system is leaking, check your app to see if it is leaking, and then you can get it fixed and not waste money on water you're not planning to use. Next slide. Bill payments. So we have lots of options for our customers. Auto pay is now live and available online. The one thing I would say is if you go online to do auto pay, please pay your outstanding bill before you log in and do future forward. So pay your bill if it's due, and then sign up for auto pay. But if you're struggling to pay your bill or you know somebody who is, we have resources for our customers. Next slide. Questions? Okay, questions.
What is Arvada's point on gray water use? Do you just pump your shower right outside your house? And then
So the question is, what is the city's stance on gray water use, which is water that has been used in your house? Right now, we do not allow it. There are a couple of reasons. We have good reasons. They're not just random. Our contract with Denver Water is unclear about that. We have only one use for our water, so we cannot reuse our water. The other point is that it is a very difficult thing for plumbing companies to do well. We don't want people's gray water to come back into their home, but we don't want gray water to come back into the system. So I definitely understand the desire for it. It's just something that's not practical or allowable right now. Okay, I'm gonna go back and forth.
So, I moved here from New Mexico, where they had incentives for people to use less water. Is the city planning to do anything such as paying people to remove lawn or put in low-flow toilets or low-flow shower heads or any of those kinds of things?
So the question is about someone who moved here from New Mexico where they incentivized financially water reduction plantings or appliances. I'll start with appliances. Every toilet you see on sale or for sale in any department store or big box store is low flow. And low flow is 1.6 gallons per flush or less. So because they're out there already, we're not incentivizing those at this time. We do have some programs on the city's website for replacing lawn. And so I would take a look at those. That's also through our Resource Central partner. You can take lawn out and then replace it with a xeric garden yourself, or they'll just take the lawn out for you and you get to decide what you want to do with it. Those are options. Hand it over to you guys. Okay.
All the way to the back. Yeah.
Just a curiosity question, also kind of new to the area. How does the city of Arvada control, or maybe you don't, all those creeks and whatever, big dry creek, whatever they're called? What is the purpose of that water that flows through there? When you turn them on and off, sometimes they're dry, sometimes they're flowing.
Oh, you're talking about the drainages themselves, or there's some canals as well?
The canals, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, so there's several ditches that run through Arvada. Those are owned and operated by the ditch companies. We have some water rights as the city of Arvada to pull off those ditches, but the maintenance and the who gets what and when it gets turned on is a very complicated water rights discussion. But the ditch companies themselves will kind of manage that.
What do they use the water for in those ditches?
Oh, so for Arvada, we actually put that into our reservoir. So that goes into our drinking water, treated, obviously. And then I think some of them are for irrigation too.
One goes to Westminster, is it?
Yep. Some of them go downstream to Westminster, and they put it. One goes into Stanley Lake. So lots of different uses. What?
Can I add on?
Yeah.
Every creek you see in the Front Range is for irrigation or municipal use.
Thank you.
I have, by the way, I worked for the wastewater plant for 5 years, and I have a background in civil engineering and water treatment plant design and all that. I moved away from that, but anyway, very interesting topic today. I was just wondering the vague word, new developers pay for what they're doing. That's kind of a hard thing to pin down exactly because there's so many different infrastructure. Like there's a basin, there's chemicals, there's so many things a water treatment plant purchases. And you're going to have to expand that water treatment plant when you have new development. And so it says that developers pay for growth, but what does that mean? It's such a vague term.
So the question is about the vagueness of the term paying for growth. So when we calculate what a developer pays to come into the city system, we look at what it takes to provide On the water side, the supply of water, and then what it takes from an infrastructure perspective to treat that water and distribute that water. And so we calculate that and charge developers either by a single family cost, or a duplex cost, or a multifamily cost, or a commercial cost. So we calculate what their impact is to the system. Same thing on the wastewater side. What does it take for us to deliver that wastewater to Metro above and beyond what we have in place now?
So there's literally no cost that goes out to the home, like a homeowner. Like if there's this development going on over here, you're saying that literally does not affect the rates over here for the...
It's a whole different system, yes. So when the example of Chris McPhee being a developer, he's going to pay a certain dollar amount for what he's building. And that is calculated on his impact to our system. And so we calculate what that looks like. Once he becomes a customer, he gets a bill like everybody else. But to buy into our system, we make sure that we are charging what is appropriate for that person or for that development to come into the city, because we want to make sure that we have charged them the right amount. So we're looking very carefully at what it costs for a developer to come into the city and how much they should pay to get into our water and sewer systems.
I'll just add too, we talked about all these replacing pipelines, treatment plants. A lot of that is also just aging infrastructure. So it's not just because, oh, we've got all these developers, all of a sudden it's, if we had no development, we still need to be investing in all of these pipelines. And so some of the rates go towards that as well, as aging infrastructure. Yeah.
So I have a question here from Zoom.
Yeah.
This is with respect to the day-to-day specific limitations with respect to the water use in the city of Arvada during the drought. So the question is then, handheld watering of shrubs and perennials are allowed outside of the 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. period of time on any day, correct?
Yeah.
So if you got a watering can, go ahead and
So
water.
the question was handheld watering of plants. Is there a time restriction or day restriction around that? And I believe currently there is not.
And sprinklers, even if they're like hose dragger sprinklers, not between 10 and 6. You have to be hand watering for it to count.
I was going to ask you about commercial car washes. I understand that some commercial car washers recycle their water. Is that
The question is whether commercial car washes recycle their water, and yes, that is, some of them do. And so some of them are recycling their water, so they're not having as big of an impact.
So a follow-on to that is the city going to allow people to wash their cars in their driveway?
The question is whether or not we're letting folks wash their cars in their driveway. I am going to say that that probably falls under the waste of water category. So if you wash your car, and I believe we have this on the website, but the best practice would be to wash it with a hose that you can turn off the water. So
The soap still goes down.
the soap's going to go down into the, I mean, when you're rinsing it off, it's going to go down, but you're not putting the hose, laying it in the driveway and letting it run down.
Yeah. I'd say, speaking for our stormwater folks, I think they would generally recommend don't allow the soap to go down. If you can do it, collect it somehow or on a grassy area somewhere where it can infiltrate, but allowing some of that just to go directly into a storm drain is not ideal. But it's a good question. Sorry, more, yeah, Red?
My question has to do with salinity and stormwater. Is there any treatment of stormwater, first of all? Number two, is there regulation of stormwater? And what drives my question is two things. Number one, there is a growing problem with salinity in the South Platte River downstream. And number two, I see a lot of salt being dumped on city streets.
Gotcha. Yeah, there are some regulations. I would have to talk with our stormwater folks to get the specific ones. Oh, sorry. So the question was, there's a lot of salinity. You're seeing a lot, or there's reportedly a lot of salinity in our water from stormwater. And are there regulations around that? And also, are we doing anything to treat our stormwater So, and then my response would just be, yeah, I would probably need to get back to you on what the specific regulations are for stormwater. I do know that we're working around the city to look at, detention basins, things where we're not just letting it run full bore into the creek, but yeah, our stormwater team does look at some of those things. Yeah, I tried to call you earlier, so yeah, go ahead.
Do you test for PFAS or do you treat for PFAS?
Great question.
Repeat it.
Oh, yeah. The question was, do you test or treat for PFAS? And the quick answer is our team did look into that, and we don't see that in our raw water, and so we don't have that issue for our data. Anything else on that? Yeah. Yep. So good news there. Sure. Oh, sorry, up front. Yeah. Go for it. Yeah, right here. Yeah.
What I personally wish you would tighten the drought restrictions. I'm wondering what it would take to do that.
Okay, so the question is, you would like to see us tighten the drought restrictions, and what would it take to do that? It's a fair question. I think what we're bringing to council with some of these additional fees, if you're using more than you need to, is a good step. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure what else we would do at this point. The last time we had a drought was 2002, I think, or 2013, but even before that was 2002. So we're kind of dusting off some of those drought regulations and trying to do what we can to implement them in an expeditious manner.
Could I add on to that? Do you have to have the same regulations that Denver Water has, or do you have liberties, I guess?
We do not have to have the same in many respects. Sorry, question. Do we have to follow Denver Water for our drought restrictions? Yes and no. They are looking to us as one of their customers to reduce our water use, and so we are passing along similar reductions so that we can hopefully see the water reducing in use. I don't know how much time we have left. I'm going to ask the timekeeper.
Yeah, I'm wondering about rainwater. Okay, does the city collect rain? I mean, sometimes we get these downpours. Do you guys collect it? Are homeowners okay to collect it? How does rainwater able to contribute to easing the drought?
The question is whether or not rain barrels can be used to manage drought restrictions. I believe you're allowed to use, I think, 2 rain barrels. I would have to get back.
2 rain barrels, 55 gallons.
Tyler just said 2 55-gallon rain barrels. Thank you.
Tap fees can be charged for affordable housing. Are we able to make adjustments if somebody wants to put in like a complex that's just affordable?
I believe the question is, are tap fees adjustable for the type of use?
Well, for affordable housing.
Affordable housing. Right now, we have a tap fee for multifamily. So there's not one that is adjustable for affordability.
It looks like Arvada is going on a quote. If you want me to use the word diet, Broomfield does not have tiers at all for their water. Okay, so I believe you can use unlimited quantity and it's all the same price. So I was just wondering how that's all working. Like, is that because Broomfield has more senior water rights and has more of them? Or how come some communities are quote unquote on a diet and some are just free to kind of use whatever they want?
So the question is about, if I heard you correctly, the different tier structures for different municipalities in the Front Range. Specifically, maybe Broomfield is one. Broomfield did move to a tiered structure within the last few years. They had a big change up in how they address their finances for their utility, and so now they have changed that dramatically. Different cities have different water sources and different expenses. So when we do our comparisons of rates and fees for customers, we look at our neighbors and see what they're doing. there are certain things you can put into rates and fees and certain things you can't, and we don't monitor everybody else's expenses. So while we might do a comparison of our neighbors, like our literal neighbors who are bordered up with Arvada, I don't look at their expenses per se. I just look at what ours are and what theirs are across the board. And I'm rambling with the response to that, but we don't know what everybody puts into their rates and fees. We just know what they charge. So there are some very large differences across the Front Range for cities. Broomfield did have a flat rate for quite some time, which was always perplexing because, you know, for me looking at this, it was like, how can they do that? I don't understand how they can do that. They've changed it since then, but there are some different costs. I know up north, I believe Fort Collins has a very high structure, a number of tiers, and they get very high for their highest tier because it's conservation oriented. All tier structures for water rates are conservation oriented. The more you use, the more you pay. And so most of us see that across the Front Range.
We are out of time. I'm sorry to say that. This has been wonderful, right? Thank you so much. That was so informative. If you have questions and they have time after, that you can address that. I want to remind everybody that our next meeting is going to be the picnic on July 11th at Saturday at Oak Park, and our August meeting is August 1st, Saturday, and it will be at Stanley Lake Library at 3 o'clock. This should be on our website. It will be on Facebook, and thank you all for coming. Anything else?
I'll be in the lobby.
Taylor will be in the lobby if you want to talk to him about your APA membership and teams and such. Thank you everybody so much for coming today.